Oh, buenos días a todos. Thank you, Jojo. ¿Qué tal, clase? Feliz lunes. Happy Monday, you guys. Happy Monday. Sí, buenos días. Ray, Belle, Kinsley, Troy, Jamarian, thanks for being my helper today. Y'all know I need all the help I can get. All right, so while we wait, you guys, which word is the verb or the action word in the sentence? Mario explora la isla de Puerto Rico. Which do you think is the, very good, Belle, is the action word? Very good, Joe Marion. Good, Trayvon. Buenos dias. How was your weekend? So in the, good job, Joe Marion. Yes, in the chat, you guys tell me which is the action word or which is the verb. What's the happening in this sentence? Mario explora la isla de Puerto Rico. And if you think you know what it means, then let me know. You can put that in the chat too. Very good, Ray. What does that mean? What is PR? What does that mean? Oh, very good. See, you taught me something. Very good, Ray. Very good, Trayvon. See. Hola, Tiana, Malik, ¿cómo estás, Troy? How's everyone? Listen, you guys, we are coming down to, the end of the school year's really coming right up around the corner. And so we need to make sure, that we are on time for class and staying caught up with our work and participating. A lot of you guys do a really good job with that. So keep it up. Kinsley, good job. Okay, in the chat, good morning, Kendall. How did you sneak in, Kendall? Kendall, you always sneak in. I never see your name, and all of a sudden there you are. Good morning, Ethan. Which word is the verb or the action word in this sentence? Mario explora la isla de Puerto Rico. What do you think is happening? Good morning. What do you think is happening? Feliz lunes, clase. Happy Monday. Good morning, Bernadette, Andrea, Malia. Buenos dias. Good, Kendall. See, I'm waiting to hear from a few more of you. What is the action? What is the happening word in our sentence today? Mario explora la isla de Puerto Rico. And if you think you know what the sentence means, yay, Ethan. Feliz cumpleaños. Feliz cumpleaños. Shamar, good morning. Malia, did I say good morning to you? Buenos dias, Bernadette. Good, Andrea. Good, Ethan. Buenos dias, Nevea. Buenos dias. All right, anybody else? Once again, if you just joined us, you guys you have GMAS testing next week, and then the end of the school year is literally right around the corner. So we need to make sure that we're on time to class and staying caught up, okay, and paying attention so that we don't get lost along the way, okay? So Ethan and Elijah, or Ethan, we need to make sure that we are in Canvas or something, that we're not in a game, okay? So, all right, let's take a look up here. Which word is the verb or the action word? In other words, what's happening? Mario explora la isla de Puerto Rico. You all told me explora was the verb, and you're absolutely right. So now here's my next question. Do you think the verb explora is an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb? Good job, Shamar. Tell me in chat. Do you think the word explora, Mario explora, is an AR verb, an ER verb, or an IR verb? Very good, Kinsley. Very good, Ray. Very good, Bell, Shamar. Good job. Good morning, Arshad. Come on, I want to hear from everyone. Do you think explora, Mario explora, that explora is an AR verb, example of an AR verb, an example of an ER verb, or an example of an IR verb? Yes, Malik. Good, Ethan. Good, Bernadette. If you say it is an example of an AR verb, you're absolutely right. It ends in an A, you guys. If it was an ER or an IR verb, it would have to end in an E, right? But it doesn't. It ends in an A. That tells us it's an AR verb. So our verb explorar, explorar. So what do we think it means? What do you think the verb explorar means? Yes, to explore. Very good. It's a cognate, easy peasy. So our sentence, you guys, Mario explores, right, in English, the island of Puerto Rico, right? Mario explores the island, La Isla de Puerto Rico, because it is an island when you can see part of it behind me anyway. Very good, you guys. Explora is our action word. And then because it ends in an A, it tells us that it's an AR verb. So just a reminder, what that means, you guys, is we don't even need to know what the word is. If we can recognize that it's an AR, ER, and IR verb, we can still use them in a sentence, right? Yes. Okay. All right. So behind me today, hoy es lunes, el 14 abril. Is that right? Yeah, the 14th of April already, you guys. Vamos a practicar con los verbos en ER, in ER. So we've talked about AR verbs, we've practiced AR verbs, etc., right? And so today we're going to switch over to a practice on ER, IR verbs, okay? Really, you guys, we are only going to spend today and part of tomorrow on these. So I'm going to ask you for your undivided attention, okay? Elijah and Ethan, I'm not gonna force you to pay attention, okay? We're not gonna keep playing focus mode and all of these things, right? It's April and you know what you need to do, and that's the expectation, okay? Spare me from having to email parents, et cetera, and do what you need to do. Okay, let's finish the school year the way we're supposed to. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Everybody meet me over in Canvas, please. Por favor, meet me over in Canvas. Thank you. And scroll all the way to the bottom of Unit 2. All the way to the bottom of Unit 2, please. Okay. And so remember that we're just going to practice today and part of tomorrow on these ER, IR verbs. So this is kind of short and sweet. We've already talked about all these things, right? So this is just practicing. Okay. So it should look like this. You have your choice of how you want to access it. You can do it through Google. You can annotate in Canvas, or you can upload it to your whatever it is you want to do. But it should look like this, and it's very short. Okay. So what I need for you guys to do is give me a thumbs up when you are ready to go. And you're ready. Thank you. I have Andrea's ready. Who else is ready? Ray is ready. Kinsley's ready. Who else is ready? Arshad's ready. Give me thumbs up. Kendall's ready. Nevea. Joe Marion, Belle. Trayvon, Tiana, Bernadette. How about you guys? Elijah. Shamar's ready. Who else? Tiana, you ready? Nevea? Yeah. All right. All right. Good job, Ethan. Kendall, did you tell me you were ready? Okay. So if you can see my screen, you guys, very good, Tiana. So your guided notes have just some pointers for you, right? So that you could always go back and access them or whatever, how to use them in a sentence. So remember, you guys, what is our first step whenever we want to use a verb in a sentence? What do we have to get rid of? Who can tell me real quick? And you can unmute, excuse me, you can unmute or you can put it in chat. What is the first step in using a verb in a sentence? What is the first thing we have to get rid of? What do we get rid of, you guys?
The ER.
Very good. Whatever the ending is, right? So in this case, we'd get rid of the ER or the IR. If it was an AR verb, we would get rid of the AR. So that's step number one. And we have to be careful only to remove that ER or AR or IR so that we can find the appropriate stem, because some of them look really odd. Okay. Then what do? Then we find the ending. So if it's an ER or an IR verb, you guys, we find the ending O-E-S-E, emos, E-M-O-S, or N. And if it's an IR verb in the nosotros, it becomes I-M-O-S, right? I-M-O-S for nosotros. So then we tack that on to have our root or our stem so that we have the appropriate form. Okay, so nothing different here. Everything that we've talked about before, but now let's learn some actual ER verbs. Okay, so I realize there's a blank here. We're going to fill these in together, and then we're just going to check out the rest of this when we're finished with those. So be ready to type, right? You are going to put the English in the blank. Okay, you guys? All right. If you have a question, let me know. I'm going to stop sharing because I have to get my screen pulled up and ready to go here. Fingers crossed that this works, because I had an issue when I was creating. So let's hope it works. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put a link in the chat. Once again, I hope it works. There it is. And everybody needs to join me here because this is going to be an interactive lesson. So we're going to learn our words and we're going to practice our words all at the same time. Once again, everybody needs to join because it's going to be an interactive thing, right? So I should have 17 of you, and I have 11. So there's 6 of us that still need to log in. Let me know if you have an issue. I need 4 more people, 5 more people, 4 more people. So, you know, you guys, how to do this, right? You're going to need to be able to see the Zoom screen, right? The quizzes screen. And you're also going to need to be able to type your words into your guided notes there. Okay. So make sure you're organized, because we're going to start here in 3, 2, and 1. Right. I'm going to go ahead and start, even though there's 3 people still not in. Okay. Here we go. All right. So remember way back when, you guys, when we were looking at these 3 verb types and we tried to find a pattern, and we realized that AR, ER, and IR verbs pretty much have the same endings, but if it's AR, it's called AS and A. If it's an ER or an IR, it's going to become an ES or an E, right? And so the only goofy one really was the nosotros form for IR verbs, because it's IMOS, but that makes sense if it's an IR verb. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, all right. So now this is where you need to type into your guided notes, because we need to know what they mean. Okay. And then we're going to practice with them. So if I go too fast, then let me know. Make sure that you can see the Zoom quizzes screen. Okay. So aprender. Aprender is our verb to learn. So tú aprendes el español, right? Tú aprendes español, right? You are learning Spanish. Tú aprendes, right? So we got rid of the ER. We replaced it with an ES, because that's what goes with the tú form, right? So to learn. Tú aprendes español. Then we have this weird kind of verb, deber. Deber means that we have to do something, right? We have to do something. So we could say, I need to study, right? Debo estudiar. I need to study, right? We could even say, I need to learn math. Debo aprender, right? Las matemáticas. You know, I need to learn math, or I have to learn math, right? Now, remember, you guys, earlier, way back when, we learned how to use tener, and we said tengo que estudiar, right? I need to study. So that's another way of saying I need. Tener, and then we added that word que, right? We also said hay que estudiar, right? Like we must, like people in general must study in order to be successful or something, right? So we had tener que and we had hay que to express some obligation, something that we have to do. Here's another way of expressing obligation. That's all it is. Okay. All right. Okay. Then we have comer. Classic comer is to eat, and beber is to drink. Comer y beber. To eat and to drink. Now we had tomar in an AR verb. I think we had tomar. I don't remember if we had tomar. Tomar is to have. So like to have something to drink. Tomar is also used for drinking. So we drink Coca-Cola, right? It's an ER verb. Bebemos Coca-Cola. Bebemos. We drink Coca-Cola, right? Bebemos Coca-Cola, right? they eat tacos, right? Ellos comen tacos, los tacos, right? Ellos comen los tacos. So we would get rid of the ER, replace it with the proper ending. So make sure you've typed these in. Again, if I go too fast, you need to tell me. Okay, so which verb would I use if I was having lunch? Use your other tab, your guided notes that you just typed in. Would I use deber, comer, or aprender? Pick one. Okay, pick one. So you're going to go back and look on your guided notes. Pick an answer. Bernadette, you have an answer? Yeah. Yep. Tiana, Kinsley. All right. Good job, you guys. Sí, muy bien. So remember, if you're typing in your guided notes, you need that tab open so you can double check and then answer in the quizzes. Okay. So if you said comer, you're absolutely right. If I was having lunch, I'd be eating, right? Comer. Okay. Muy bien. Here's another one. Which verb best describes what I do in school? Beber, beber, or aprender? Ten seconds. All right, good job. Yeah, so what you do in school, aprender, you learn in school, aprender, right? Okay. What would I do if I was thirsty? Beber, beber, or aprender? If I was thirsty. Very good. Muy bien. I would use beber, right? I would use to drink if I was thirsty. Beber, right? Okay. All right. So give me some feedback. 3, 2, 1. 3, I got it. And 1, I don't. Tell me 3 or 1, I guess. That'd probably be easier. Are you organized? Do you have your guided notes up and you're typing in there? Can you flip back and forth to answer these quizzes questions? Give me a 3 or a 1. You can do it as a 3. You can't do it as a 1. Okay. Most of you are telling me 3. Okay. Very good. All right. So let's keep going. Okay. So back in your guided notes, we have our verbs correr. Correr is to run. And vender is to sell. Yeah. Oh, that's sorry, Shamar. Yep. So an easy way to remember vender, you guys, that's a cognate. What does it look like in English? Vender. What does it look like in English? Yeah, like a vendor. Yes, or a vending machine, you know, something like that. A vendor, a vending machine. Absolutely. So that's easy. We know where we can see where we borrowed that word. What about correr? Trayvon, that's a verb for you, right? What about correr, to run? Does that look like something in English or sound like something in English? It's not really a word that we use too often, but correr could be. Ethan? Any other? Have you ever heard the word a courier? Like a courier service? Courier service delivers things. Have you ever heard of that? Courier, if you're a courier. We use that word in English for deliver, Yes, there you go, Trayvon. Yeah. Courier service is like a delivery service is just another word for delivery service. A courier. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So, I mean, that's where we get it from because you're going, you're going from, because before there were cars, people used to run it to you, right? Before there was a vehicle. Yeah. All right. So correr to run and vender to sell. All right. Then from our text, we had barrer el suelo to sweep the floor. And prender la luz was to turn on the light, right? To turn on the light. So to sweep the floor and turn on the light. Okay. Okay. Then we have leer to read and responder to respond. That's an easy one, isn't it? Yeah. Leer. Yeah, that one's not so easy to remember. But yep. Leer to read, responder to respond. Okay, again, if I go too slow, if I go too fast, y'all need to speak up. Okay. Yes, you fill in the blank on your guided notes. All right, let me go back one. Let's see if I can go back one. Okay, so barrer is to sweep. Okay, so to sweep, el suelo is the floor. And prender was to turn on the light. Okay. And then leer was to read and responder to respond. Okay, we good? Everybody good? Let's see. Okay, here we go. If I wanted to go for a jog in the park, which verb would I use? You're going to type in the Spanish word. So again, you're going to have to flip over to your other tab and try to get the spelling correct. Okay. If I wanted to go for a jog in the park, which verb would I use? Okay, you got about 12 seconds left. Okay, so let me make sure there's no names on here. Hold on one second. Okay, you guys, so you should have said correr, right? C-O-R-R-E-R, correr. Okay, so once again, very good, you guys. Correr, to run. Once again, you should have these two tabs open, one in quizzes, one in Canvas or whatever your guided notes are in. You're typing the words in the guided notes and you're kind of flipping back and forth to complete the quizzes. Okay. All right. If I was in the library, which verb would I most likely use? So check your guided notes. Which verb would I most likely use if I was in the library? Okay, 13 seconds. All right. Ooh, look at Belle on top and Joe Marion, you're numero dos. Great job. So yes, you guys should have said leer, right? To read. Absolutely, to read. Okay, next one. If I had a bunch of stuff I didn't want anymore, what verb could I use? If I had a bunch of stuff I didn't want, looking at your list of the ones we've completed, which verb would I use? Five seconds. Okay, we would use, good job, Malia. We would use vender, right? To sell, okay? Now remember, you guys, we only have today to practice these, so make sure that you are attempting. Okay, and then we have our endings. So pay attention here, right? O, E-S-E, hemos, and en. And if it was an IR verb, it would be IMOS, right? For nosotros. Okay, so using that chart, type in the subject pronoun that matches the form of the verb como. So our verb comer is to eat. Is it going to be the nosotros form? Is it the él and ella form? Is it the tú form? If I'm going to say I eat como, which pronoun matches? Is it tú? Is it usted? Is it nosotros? Is it yo? What is it? Type in your answer. Como. Okay, I have two more folks, one more person that needs to answer. Is it the yo form, the tú form? Which is it? Very good, you guys. Yo como, right? I eat. It ends in an O, therefore yo. Okay. All right, let's try another one. Okay, you guys know that you can click on this chart if you need to enlarge it. Type in the subject pronoun that matches the verb leemos. Leemos, we read. Is it the yo, the tú, the él, ella, nosotros, or ellos, ustedes, whichever? What pronoun, which subject pronoun matches the form leemos? Okay, let's try to get our answers in. Leemos. Which form is that? We read. Yes, so you should have said nosotros, right? It is the nosotros form. Okay, very good. Muy bien. Okay. One more. Type in the pronoun that matches the form of the verb respondes, right? You respond. Respondes. Is it the yo form, the tú form, the el form, nosotros, or ellos? Respondes. You respond. Respondes a la profesora, right? That's okay, Tiana. Belle, what do you say? Kinsley, how about you? I don't know who Star is. Respondes. What's our answer? Okay. So it would be tú with the accent mark, right? Because it was an ES on the end. Okay. So respondas is tú respondas, because remember our endings are O-E-S-E. That's the tú form, right? You respond. Tú respondes. Okay, head on back to your guided notes. Make sure you can see my screen. Oh, we had one more. I lied. One more. Sorry about that. So beben. 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 So is it tú, él, nosotros, or ellos? Beben. Right? Beber is to drink. So which form is this? Beben. Ethan, Jomarian, Andrea, Kinsley, Tiana, Star. Beben. Which form is that? "30 seconds. I need Kinsley, Tiana, and ten seconds. Okay, so you could have said, right? You could have said ellos or ellas, or you could have said ustedes, okay? Because it's all the same. So beben, right? They drink or you all drink. Ellos beben or ustedes beben. Okay, good job. All right, so now we got some IR. Okay, remember they're all the same except for the nosotros becomes IMOS. Okay, so back in your guided notes, we're typing. Who remembers what is sacudir? Sacudir los muebles. To dust off. Very good. Very good. Sacudir los muebles, to dust. It literally, you know what it means, you guys? To like shake things up. Okay. So yeah, so we're kind of shaking the dust off, right? Abrir la ventana. What is abrir, clase? What is abrir? Abrir is to open. Very good. Bernadette, to clean is limpiar. So it's not to clean, it's literally to dust off. Okay, sacudir is to dust off the furniture, los muebles. Abrir is to open. So remember, we can open a window, la ventana. We can open a door, abrir la puerta, right? Abrir to open, sacudir to dust off. So make sure that you have those in your guided notes. Okay. Then we have escribir is to write. To write. And vivir is to live. So when we say, I live in Georgia, for example, right? We would get rid of the IR and it would become vivo in Georgia, right? Vivo, I live. Okay, if I said you all live in Georgia, you all, ustedes, then I would say viven in Georgia, pero yo vivo in Missouri. Okay, but I live in Missouri, yo vivo, right? Is there a way to remember this verb escribir? Do y'all recognize sort of a word in there to help us remember that it means yes, Belle? Good eye. Very good. So escribir looks like scribe, like a scribe. Okay. And so that's, yes, that's what it means. Okay, to write. That's what scribe or scribble, because scribble is, you know, comes all from the word scribe. Yes, you're right. Scribble, scribe. Very good. Good connections. That's what we need. Okay. All right. These are in your guided notes as well. We have already talked about tener, right? Tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, and tienen. We said that they were go verbs, right? You guys remember we talked about go verbs, and what makes them go verbs is the fact that the yo form ends in a go. Okay. The other one in your notes there is traer. Traer means to bring something or to wear something. Okay. And it too is a go verb, because look at the yo form. Traigo. Traigo. Okay. So tengo, tienes, tiene, tenemos, tienen. And then I bring or I wear. Yo traigo. And then look at these, you guys. Look how weird these look to us. Tú traes. Él trae. Nosotros traemos. Ellos traen. This is like the perfect example of why we have to go through this step by step, where we would get rid of the ER to find the stem or the root, and then add the appropriate ending, right? O-E-S-E, hemos, and N. So that's why I keep stressing to you why we have to go through it step by step. You cannot guess at removing at finding the stem. You have to go through it step by step. Get rid of the AR, ER, or IR to find the stem, because sometimes it looks odd to us. Okay. And if we don't get it right, then it's actually a different verb. It's just wrong. It's not a word in and of itself. Okay. Some ER verbs, we call them stem changers. And why we call them stem changers? Well, we have our endings, O, E, S, E, right? Hemos and N, like normal, But look what happens. Our UE becomes UIE. 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 We add the I. I want, you want, he wants, we want, they want. Okay. We also call these boot because we can see that the goofy ones, the stem changing, have the shape of a boot, right? The only one that doesn't change is the nosotros. Okay. So this is just a matter of remembering, practicing, seeing it. Okay. So tener, let me go back a slide. Tener and traer, you guys, are go verbs. Who can tell me in chat, why are they called go verbs? Or if you want to unmute, that's fine too. Why are these two verbs called go verbs? You need to know because you're going to hear me refer to go verbs and you need to know what the heck I'm talking about. Why are tener and traer called go verbs? Who can tell me? Well, every verb is an action. Yes, Shamar, very good. Okay, make yourself a note in your guided notes. Open a text box, make yourself a note. You guys, why do we call these go verbs? Because the yo forms add a G. Okay, they're ER verbs, you guys. So they should look like the other ones, but they don't. Why not? Because the yo form adds a G. Tengo, traigo. So in your guided notes, if you got to open a text box to put that in there, then that's what you need to do. What is a go verb? A go verb is an ER verb where the yo form adds a GO. Tengo, traigo. Any questions about that before I go on again? Okay. And then here, okay, why do we call these boot verbs? Why do we call these boot verbs? Are you sure, Belle? Come on, you guys, look at the image. Why do we call these boot verbs? What's your thinking? Yes, Ray. You guys look up here. They change their stem. How does it change? The UE adds an I. Come on, y'all. I need you wakey wakey. So the boot verb is when they're stem changing. Their stem changes spelling. We add an I on all of these forms except for nosotros, and that looks like a boot. Okay, does everybody get my point here? Yes or no? Because you're going to hear me say things like it's a stem changing verb, or it's a boot verb, or it's a go verb, right? So we need to be able to relate to what's being said. Okay. All right. Okay, well, let's see what you remember. Use your guided notes. What verb means to have? Tener, traer, or querer? Which verb means to have? Use your notes. Just scroll down. Scroll down in your guided notes. Okay, tener, very good, tener, okay? keep going. Which one means bring? To bring? Yes. To bring or wear is traer, and it's a go verb. Yo traigo. Okay, yo traigo, right? Traer means to bring or to wear. Okay, good job. Which of the following are also go verbs? What do you want here? Your notes. Which of the following are go verbs? All right, let's see what you came up with. Go verbs are traer and tener. Very good. Good job. Good job, you guys. All right, so let's keep going. We only have 3 more slides, so why are they called go verbs? All right, so if you said that the yo form ends in go, you're absolutely right. Okay, the yo form ends in go. That's why we call them, or ends in geo. That's why we call them go verbs. Okay, all right, a couple more slides. Which verb is an example of a stem changing? Okay, use your notes. Which verb is an example of a stem changing? Stem changer, stem changer. Use your guided notes. Scroll down. Yes, if you said querer, to want, absolutely, right? Querer is an example of a stem changer, okay? Querer, to want. All right, last question. Why is it called a boot verb? Why is it called a boot verb? Why is it called a boot verb? Okay, let's see what you come up with. Last question. Absolutely. Woo, you guys, good job. Each form makes a spelling change in the stem, right? We added the I, except for the nosotros form. Okay. And you know what, you guys, that is going to happen for every verb. The nosotros form is never going to change. Okay. All right. Good job. Muy bien, clase. Look at that. Good job. Well done. Okay. Give yourselves a round of applause. So let me get my screen pulled up here. Let's make sure that we have all of our blanks filled in. And I want you guys to go ahead and submit those or turn them in if you downloaded it, whatever you did, if you did it in Cami or whatever. So you want to go ahead and submit these, right, or upload them or however you chose to do it. Okay. So I should have all of these things to grade before we get out of here today, right? Everybody should turn these in. All right, so give me a thumbs up once you have all that turned in. All right, Kendall's got hers turned in. Andrea has hers turned in. Everybody else ready? Rock and roll? Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to pull up a blank screen. I'm just going to show you how these work. You guys know how these work, but we're just going to see them, look at them together. Okay. And then I'm going to give you some work time because I want to make sure that there's something that's clear to you. Okay. We are again coming toward the end of the school year quickly. You know, you guys have testing all next week. And then right after that, I mean, the school year, it's going to fly. So I want to make sure that we have time to get some work done. Okay. All right. So take a look at my screen. I'm going to go through this quickly. So please pay attention. I have 3 ER verbs up here that are from our list, right? To run, to read, and to sweep. So if I want to say, you guys, he sweeps the floor. Okay. I'm just going to keep it simple. He sweeps the floor, right? Well, my word for he is el. I know that. But remember in Spanish, I don't always have to put that in. I just need to know it. Okay. So I need to find the correct form of barrer to go with he. So my sentence is going to be, I'm going to have my verb up here. Please watch. And my first step, like you guys told me, is to get rid of the ER. Okay, who can tell me what ending goes with el, ella, and usted for an ER verb? It's O, ES, and what? O, ES, and if it's he, it would be L, right? So what's our ending? O, ES, what? Well, what was our ending for AR verbs, you guys? O, AS, and? Come on, help me out. A. So what is it going to be for an ER? O, ES, and E. There you go. Okay. So our sentence is going to be barre el suelo. Right? So you guys, he sweeps the floor. Look at that. Barre El suelo. That's what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to sound like. You're not always going to have to put in the word he. Okay? It's understood. All right, any questions there? Okay, now it's your turn. In the chat, I want you guys to tell me we are sweeping, sweeping the floor in the chat. Okay, that's where we make our mistakes. How do we say we are sweeping the floor? Yes, Bernadette, good job. Good, Ray. Come on, y'all. We are sweeping the floor. Nevea, Malia, Malik, Tiana, Kindle, Trayvon, Bell. We are sweeping. How do we do it? Elijah. Yeah. How do we spell it? Put it in the chat. Yeah, Bell, but what would the word be? What would barrer look like? Good, Joe Marion. Yay, Malik. Good job. Ethan, how about you? What is the ending for we? What is we? Isn't we nosotros? So what's the ending for nosotros? There you go, Malia. Good job. Yes, Ethan. Trayvon, it's ER. Elijah, that doesn't exist. Shamar. Okay, so let's look, you guys. Watch my screen. It's barrer, right? We get rid of the ER. It's O-E-S-E, hemos, and N. Just like it was with like estar, was estoy, estás, A-S, está, estamos with an A, amos, right? But this is an ER, so it just becomes hemos. Barremos. It's an ER verb, right? ER. That's why we have to know, we have to be aware of that. Okay. AR, if it was an AR verb, it would be AMOS, but these are ER verbs, so it becomes EMOS, right? El suelo. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay. We're going to do one more, and we're going to do leer. And here's why we're going to do leer. Because this is the importance of going through the steps. Okay. So if I'm going to say, I'll just do I. Okay. I read at the library. Okay. I read at the library. So watch my screen. This is super duper important. I know it's yo. Okay. And so I'm going to, that's my infinitive. That's my original. I get rid of the ER. What is my ending, you guys, that goes with yo? Oh, so look what I do. Leo. Leo en la biblioteca. You guys, I read at the library. Leo. Okay. That's odd looking to us. Okay. So now let's say they read books. They read books. They would be like ellos and ellas, right? Okay, so now you tell me in the chat, what do I do with leer? Our verb is leer. What do I do with leer? Pop it in the chat. How do I say they read books? Our verb is leer. Very good, Ray. Very good, Malia. I need to hear from the more of you, the merrier. I need to hear from everyone. Good, Bernadette. Good, Belle. Ethan, Elijah, Malik. It's an ER verb. ER. So there should not be the letter A anywhere in the ending, right? Because it's an ER verb. There you go, Trayvon, good job. Good, Joe Marion. Kendall, very good. Anyone else? Shamar or Arshad, did you pop one in here? How do I do they read books? Okay, so once again, I'm going to get rid of that ER, you guys. That's the root or the stem. That's weird looking, but that's the way it is, okay? And so then we add our ending that goes with eos. So it's O-E-S-E, emos, E-M-O-S, and N, right? E-N. Leen libros, right? So our entire sentence could be leen libros. We don't even need that because that's kind of understood. They read books. Okay. All right. Questions. All right. I'm going to stop there today. Make sure that you have turned in your ER verbs. And I'd like for you again to meet me in modules. We are in Unidad 2, Unit 2 for Puerto Rico, which, by the way, behind me, oopsie, is an image of Puerto Rico today, right? Okay. Let's talk about what we have been working on, what we've been finishing up, okay? So we have done chores, and we had guided notes for chores, and then we had 2 practices for chores, vocabulary. Make sure that you have completed the guided notes and the 2 practices for chores. Then we did AR, ER, and IR verbs. Okay. You have this resource here. You also have resources in the library, in the resource library. And we practiced another vocab and AR verbs. So you had 1, 2, 3 practices with AR verbs. And then guided notes you should have turned in today. Okay. So we have about 5 minutes. I was hoping to give you more time. Pick one that you haven't finished, that you haven't done. And some of them are really short. Some of them only have 5 questions or 4 questions, and get that turned in before the end of the hour. If you have a specific question that you want to ask me, now is the time to do it. Okay. So let's do, let's see what we need to get done, and let's work toward that, you guys, in the time that we have left. Okay. We are going to quiz on these, but it won't be until after the GMAS testing, unfortunately. So, yeah, FYI. I'm going to publish the slides that we did today. So if you missed something, you'll have access to that. So I'm going to go ahead and publish those now. So if you need the slides that we did today, you can refresh your screen. I just published those. Okay, I'm glad some of you are working. Yeah, you guys, it's 25 after. Good job today. I tried to push that through kind of quickly. Have a nice lunch and see what you can get caught up on today. Okay. Nos vemos Wednesday. I won't see you tomorrow, right? So nos vemos miércoles, right, clase? Adios. Good job. Adios. Adios. Have a great day.
Adios.
Adios, Bernadette.